Those crazy people over at Speedruns. It seems like only yesterday that they released their catchily named Half-Life 2 DWAHMOV speedrun of the game, where they hopped, glitched and exploited their way to victory in record time. But now they've done it again, and they haven't just shaved seconds off their time, they've obliterated their previous records. There's been a bit of history to the Half-Life 2 speedruns. The first was Half-Life 2 Done Quick, which completed the game in 1 hour 37 minutes. This was achieved by the Half-Life 2 Done Quick team back in 2006. In 2013, Speedruns did their Half-Life 2 Done with a High Magnitude of Velocity run, which shaved 10 minutes off the original time. But there was another change with this run as well. It used the newer, updated Orange Box engine, which fixed a number of previous exploits. This video nicely demonstrates the differences between these two versions. More recently still, it was discovered that one of the speedrunners from the original Done Quick attempt had cheated, which encouraged Speedruns to attempt the run again, using the original engine and all of its many bugs. These include the usual speedy jumps, but also the controversial escape from the world and bypass the level void exploits as well. And not just once or twice, but for most of the levels. Is this going too far? Judging by the ratings for this new video and the visible downvoted portion, possibly. I don't know how I feel about this. It's heartbreaking to see such an honest, hard-working video get casually downvoted by us mere mortals who struggle to comprehend the skill required to accomplish such a feat. Who are we to downvote a masterpiece that we don't even understand? But at the same time, it's certainly not as entertaining as the previous runs to watch. Whereas before, Gordon Freeman at least humoured the rules of the game, this time he downright abuses both the game and the engine it's based on. He's a god, passing through and around the levels as though they're nothing. But remember, this wasn't intended to be an entertaining video. It's a speedrun, and it does this brilliantly. Check out the full video here. I'm now going to go through my favourite bits, comparing them with their previous run. Sadly, as a viewer I've been spoiled. As incredible as every second of this speedrun is, I end up taking for granted the hundreds of perfected bunny hops and weightless landings. It becomes commonplace to watch people teleport when hit on the head with random props, or to climb a staircase by using a gun turret that's still shooting at the player. The speedrunners must facepalm when I seem more entertained by a glitched set piece than from the awesome technical ability shown during the Nova Prospect section that probably took them weeks to perfect. But I can't help it. After all, what's there not to love about bypassing areas, leaving floated, unactivated Combine police in your wake? Or starting the level next to misplaced Barneys? Or the way that Alex casually drives her face through a plank of wood? Or when they decide to make Eli look senile because they got bored waiting for a set piece to end? Indeed, at points, the speedrunner's talents seem better used to showcase hilarious bugs, making Gordon Freeman look like even more of a social outcast than he is already. It's fascinating to compare this run with the older ones and to see what's changed. Gordon was a right perv in the previous attempt, lewdly gawking at breasts and bottoms during the game's set pieces. In this new speedrun, Gordon instead breaks free of his chains and procrastinates by performing acts of hardcore parkour, avoiding opportunities for schoolboy humour. For the most part, at least. It's also great to see Matmo return as one of the few people who played a part in both recent speedruns. Time to look at some of my favourite parts. Impressively, they've now managed the whole airboat section without using the vehicle at all. This does mean that we lose a lot of incredible boat flipping segments, but sacrifices have to be made for the shortest times, I suppose. And how about the other vehicle part? I was excited to see the coast sections because I couldn't imagine how they could have improved on the times from the old speedrun, and it turns out that they couldn't. The new speedrun is slower in every single one of these coast levels. I stopped the old speedrun at the end of every stage so that the new one can catch up. That way, at least for a split second at the beginning of every map, they're in sync again. Now I want to stress that I'm not criticising the new speedrun at all. The speedrunners are likely just as skillful as those in the older run. It's just that the coast levels are the one part of the game which massively favours a glitch with the newer engine version that lets people bunny hop backwards at ludicrous speeds. All in all, this entire segment of the game takes 33 seconds longer in the new speedrun. Next is Ravenholm. The old speedrun took almost exactly a minute, mostly at just 1 HP. An incredible achievement, but from the word go you can see it getting beaten by the newer run, with Centaur 1 fluidly bunny hop dodging obstacles early on before taking a more direct path through the air to the far window near the end of the level. This section's so fast paced that I've decided to run it at half speed just that you can make out what's going on. The majority of the time saved is in this very first part of Ravenholm. Surprisingly, despite two very different approaches, the two runs managed this one in almost identical time, but the newer speedrun manages to finish this part on a more respectable 85 HP, which should make the parts to come a bit easier. As I said earlier, these two runs through Ravenholm are using different versions of the source engine, so you can't exactly compare the two. I am surprised that a game that I've played through so many times over the years without encountering a single bug can be broken so much though. Years ago, when I saw a speedrun for the first Half-Life, I remember feeling a little disappointed that Half-Life 2 wouldn't be anywhere near as interesting because most of the glitches would have been patched. Thank you, Source Runs, for proving me wrong.
Dr. Freeman? Gordon Freeman? Is that you? You've made it here this quickly, well, Eli...
Yeah, Gordon, you sure got there quickly. But just how much faster than last time? I guess it depends on when you start and stop the clock. I decided to go with the last time that Alex saw Gordon until the moment he steps into Black Mesa East. Even this was difficult to record since this was the last time Alex saw him in the latest speedrun before he disappeared through a wall. But anyway, previously it took him 13 minutes and 14 seconds. In this speedrun, just 7 minutes 26. Not bad going, Gordon. Who needs teleportation anyway? The end of the game has always been entertaining. Speedruns seem to take great delight in ruining this bit as much as possible. If we look at the old one, Matmo manages to get over a barrier and spends some time staring at Dr. Breen's ass. Later on, another runner, S. takes cover from a gunship behind Alex before she's mowed down in the final scene. How could this new speedrun one-up this? Well, for a start, they escape from the starting room not once, but twice. First to place a prop somewhere that will help later on, only to then return to the first room again to speed Alex up. Trade Rain then gets a bit of the world itself to shield him from a glitched gunship, before revealing Alex and Dr. Breen stood in a room together, watching Dr. Breen's supposed death and the G-Man's last visit. Oh, and he manages to end the speedrun on a single point of health. Incredible. Thanks to Source Runs and to all of the heroic speedrunners who made these videos possible. Check out the original videos here and support them if you enjoyed this content.